Namaste, my beloved friends. Today I am not speaking casually. Today I am speaking carefully because when Rahu, Mercury, and Venus come together in Aquarius, words themselves can become spells. Thoughts can become traps, and attraction can quietly turn into illusion without you even realizing when it happened. Opposite to this gathering stands Ketu in Leo, detached, silent, ego cutting, standing exactly where attention, fame, identity, and recognition normally live. This is not an ordinary transit, this is a mirror transit. Rahu is already in Aquarius, and Rahu is the master of illusion. Whenever Rahu joins any planet, remember one ancient truth: Rahu does not create power, Rahu magnifies power. It makes a cat appear like a lion. Rahu is the planet of illusion, exaggeration, obsession, and false expansion. Aquarius is the sign of ideas, networks, society, future thinking, and collective consciousness. So, when the Rahu sits in Aquarius, illusion does not remain personal, they become socially validated. So, when Rahu sits in Aquarius, illusions do not remain personal, they become socially validated. And now Mercury and Venus are joining Rahu there. Mercury represents thoughts, speech, logic, communication, podcasts, videos, opinions. Venus represents attraction, desire, pleasure, relationships, and value systems. So, what happens? Illusion starts thinking it is wisdom. Attraction starts thinking it is love. Noise starts thinking it is truth. This is why this transit is extremely powerful and extremely dangerous if one is unconscious. And while recording this podcast, something very symbolic happened in my life. The first physical copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. I did not feel excitement, I felt responsibility when the book arrived. Because black magic is not only about rituals, lemons, dolls, or midnight acts. The most dangerous black magic today happens through thoughts, desires, words, social influence, emotional manipulation. Exactly what Mercury, Venus, Rahu in Aquarius represents. As Osho once said, the greatest illusion is the illusion that you are awake. This transit tests exactly that. And on the other side of Aquarius is Ketu in Leo, the silent executioner of ego. On the other side, Ketu stands in Leo. Leo wants recognition, applause, validation, identity, and Ketu cuts. So many people during this transit will experience sudden disinterest in fame, feeling invisible despite effort, ego wounds, loss of motivation for attention. This is not punishment, this is surgery. As Buddha said, nothing in this world can trouble you as much as your own thoughts. Ketu in Leo removes the false crown from the head, while Rahu in Aquarius tempts the mind with shiny ideas. Now let us see how this plays out sign by sign, starting not from sun sign fantasies but from moon sign and ascendant reality. So let's begin with Aries. Aries, Mesh Rashi. Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the 11th house, gains friends, followers, desires, and social circles. So, yes, your desires will amplify. But remember this, clarity can reduce. With Rahu in your 11th house, there is hunger for bigger networks, more visibility, online attention, and fast success. When Mercury joins Rahu, you may speak more, post more, and feel you have figured everything out, even believing your ideas are revolutionary. Then Venus joins Rahu, attraction increases. You may get drawn toward people who look charming but lack depth. Friendships may begin to feel like emotional anchors. But here is the danger, Aries. What looks like support may be use. What looks like connection may be dependency. What looks like growth may be inflation. And opposite this, Ketu in Leo sits in your fifth house, love, romance, creativity, and joy. This can create a strange emptiness even after appreciation, and you may ask, why am I getting everything yet feeling nothing? Because Ketu is removing ego based happiness. It is teaching you that applause cannot heal the soul. So remember this one rule, do not chase applause, let clarity chase you. Speak less, observe more, trust slowly, commit emotionally only after time tests people. And this is exactly why some knowledge cannot be explained casually in podcasts. Some truths need deeper decoding, deeper silence, deeper courage. That is also why I am sharing this with you today. That the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain wisdom cannot be rushed, it needs to be held, reflected upon, and lived with, not just listened to once. Remember this Zen line, when the mind is noisy, truth whispers. Stay aware, Aries, stay grounded, and most importantly, stay beyond illusion. Taurus, Vrishabh Rashi. Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the 10th house, the house of career, reputation, authority, public image, and visibility. So, understand this clearly. This transit puts you on display. With Rahu in your 10th, ambition intensifies. You may feel an inner pressure to achieve more, prove more, and be seen as successful. Recognition becomes tempting, titles, status, and validation may start mattering more than peace. When Mercury joins Rahu, your mind becomes extremely active around work. You may speak more about your plans, make bold professional decisions, pitch ideas confidently, and feel intellectually sharp. But remember, speed is not always wisdom. Then Venus joins Rahu, and for Taurus, this is sensitive. You may feel emotionally attached to your work, your image, or how others perceive your success. Pleasure may start coming from applause, praise, and being needed. But here is the danger, Taurus. What looks like progress may be pressure. What looks like fame may be fatigue. What looks like success may slowly steal your peace. Now look at the other side. Ketu in Leo sits in your fourth house, the house of inner peace, home, emotional security, and motherly comfort. This can create inner restlessness, emotional detachment at home, or a feeling that something is missing even when life looks perfect outside. You may ask quietly, why am I achieving more yet resting less? Because Ketu is teaching you this lesson. Outer success cannot replace inner grounding. So here is your guidance. Do not sacrifice peace for position. Slow down emotionally. Protect your inner space. Not every professional demand deserves a personal response, and this is exactly why some truths cannot be delivered casually in short clips or fast podcasts. Some wisdom requires stillness, repetition, and contemplation. That is also why I want to share this with you, that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain knowledge is not meant to be consumed quickly, it is meant to be lived with slowly, consciously. Remember this: ambition is a bottle of poison, but the label on it says it is pure nectar. Don't fall for ambition, stay centered, stay rooted, and remain successful without losing yourself.
Gemini, Mithun Rashi.
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the ninth house, the house of belief, higher knowledge, teachers, philosophy, long journeys, and dharma. This means one thing clearly. This means one thing clearly. Your thinking is about to expand, but it can also scatter. With Rahu in your ninth, you may feel drawn toward new belief systems, unconventional knowledge, foreign ideas, and modern philosophies. You may start questioning what you were taught earlier and feel the urge to redefine your truth. When Mercury joins Rahu, your mind becomes extremely active. You may speak confidently on spiritual or philosophical matters, debate more, teach more, and feel intellectually superior at times. But remember, Gemini, knowing many things is not the same as knowing deeply. Then Venus joins Rahu, attraction toward charming teachers, glamorous ideologies, or pleasing philosophies increases. You may fall in love with ideas that sound beautiful but lack grounding. But here is the danger: what looks like wisdom may be information, what looks like guidance may be confusion, what looks like freedom may be rebellion. Now observe the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your third house, the house of communication, effort, courage, and self expression. This can create sudden silence, lack of motivation to speak, or a strange exhaustion from constant communication. You may feel like saying less yet thinking more. You may wonder, why do I know so much yet feel unsure? Because Ketu is cutting attachment to borrowed knowledge. It is pushing you toward lived truth. So here is your guidance, Gemini. Do not chase answers, sit with questions. Reduce noise, choose one path, go deeper instead of wider. And this is exactly why some wisdom cannot be transmitted in fast moving conversations or short reels. Some truths demand time, patience, and repeated reflection. That is also why I want to share this with you today. The fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain knowledge is not meant to be skimmed, it is meant to be read slowly, absorbed quietly, and allowed to change you. Remember this: when the mind jumps too fast, truth gets left behind. Stay curious, Gemini, but more importantly, stay rooted in depth.
Cancer, Kark Rashi.
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the eighth house, the house of transformation, hidden fears, emotional bonds, secrets, inheritance, and deep psychological change. This is not a light transit for you, this is a soul level transit. With Rahu in your 8th house, buried emotions can surface. Old fears, suppressed desires, obsessions, and unconscious patterns may rise without warning. You may feel drawn toward mysteries, occult knowledge, or trying to control situations emotionally. When Mercury joins Rahu, the mind starts overthinking the unseen. You may analyze relationships too deeply, suspect motives, or mentally replay past wounds. Thoughts may go where peace does not. Then Venus joins Rahu. Emotional attachment intensifies. You may bond deeply, crave emotional security, or feel magnetically pulled toward people who awaken old karmas. Love may feel intense but unstable. But here is the danger, Cancer. What feels like intimacy may be attachment. What feels like care may be control. What feels like love may be fear of loss. Now look at the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your second house, the house of family, emotional security, values, and speech. This can create emotional withdrawal from family matters, loss of interest in material comforts, or a silence in expression. Words may feel heavy, unnecessary, or inadequate. You may ask quietly, why am I feeling so much yet unable to express anything? Because Ketu is teaching you emotional detachment without becoming cold. It is asking you to feel but not cling. So, here is your guidance. Do not drown in emotions, learn to witness them. Not every feeling requires a reaction, not every bond needs tightening. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be spoken casually or quickly. Some wisdom emerges only when we sit with discomfort patiently. That is also why I want to share this with you, that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain truths about emotions, karma, and healing cannot be rushed. They need quiet reading, reflection, and time. Remember this: what you observe no longer controls you. Stay gentle, Cancer. Stay aware and allow transformation without fear.
लियो सिंह राशि।
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the seventh house, the house of relationships, marriage, public interactions, and open enemies. So, understand this clearly. This transit puts your relationships under a spotlight. With Rahu in your seventh, relationships can feel intense, magnetic, and karmic. You may attract unusual people, powerful, intelligent, charismatic, but also unpredictable. Partnerships may promise growth yet carry hidden complexities. When Mercury joins Rahu, communication in relationships increases. You may talk more, explain more, negotiate more, and still feel misunderstood. Words multiply, but clarity can reduce. Then Venus joins Rahu, attraction becomes stronger. Desire for companionship, validation, and emotional connection rises. Love can feel exciting, glamorous, even intoxicating. But here is the danger, Leo. What feels like love may be projection. What feels like harmony may be compromise of self. What feels like destiny may be dependency. Now look at the other side. Ketu in Leo sits in your first house, your self, identity, ego, and sense of I. This is deeply karmic. You may feel disconnected from your old identity. Praise may not excite you. Attention may feel empty. You may question who you really are beyond roles and labels. You may ask, Why do relationships feel important, yet I feel distant from myself? Because Ketu is dissolving the ego you once lived through. It is teaching you that real love begins only after self awareness. So, here is your guidance. Do not lose yourself to keep a relationship. Pause before commitments. Watch patterns carefully. Choose truth over attention. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be understood through surface conversations. Some wisdom reveals itself only through lived experience and silent observation. That is also why I want to share this with you, that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain lessons about love, karma, and identity need depth, reflection, and time, not instant answers. Remember this, when the ego steps back, clarity steps in. Stay aware, Leo. Stay honest with yourself and allow relationships without losing your center.
वर्गो कन्या राशि।
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the sixth house, the house of work, service, health, routines, conflicts, and daily responsibilities. So, understand this clearly. Life may become busy, demanding, and mentally noisy. With Rahu in your sixth, you may feel an intense urge to fix everything, your work, your body, other people's problems, even situations that are not yours to solve. You may take on more responsibility than necessary, believing efficiency will bring peace. When Mercury joins Rahu, your mind becomes hyperactive. You may analyze excessively, overplan, over communicate at work, and feel mentally restless. You may believe that thinking more will solve everything, but sometimes, Virgo, thinking is the problem. And then Venus joins Rahu, you may start seeking emotional satisfaction through productivity, appreciation at work, or being needed by others. Service can quietly turn into self neglect, and here is the danger. What looks like discipline may be compulsion, what looks like service may be exhaustion, what looks like productivity may be inner balance. What looks like productivity may be inner imbalance. Now look at the other side. Ketu in Leo sits in your 12th house, the house of sleep, isolation, loss, surrender, and spiritual withdrawal. This can create disturbed sleep, desire for solitude, emotional fatigue, or a longing to escape noise and responsibility. You may ask, why am I doing so much yet feeling drained? Because Ketu is asking you to surrender control. It is reminding you that healing does not always come from effort. So, here is your guidance. Do not try to fix everything. Rest consciously. Simplify your routines. Choose silence over solutions. And this is exactly why some wisdom cannot be delivered in rushed conversations or productivity hacks. Some truths are understood only when effort pauses. That is also why I want to share this with you, that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain insights about balance, healing, and surrender are meant to be read slowly, in stillness, not in urgency. Remember this, when you stop forcing order, natural harmony appears. Stay gentle with yourself, Virgo. Stay balanced and allow healing without over effort.
लिब्रा तुला राशि।
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the fifth house, the house of love, romance, creativity, self expression, intelligence, and children. So, understand this clearly. Your heart wants expression, but illusion can mix with emotion. With Rahu in your fifth, attraction intensifies. You may feel drawn toward romance, admiration, creativity, and being noticed for your talents. Love may feel exciting, dramatic, and consuming. Creative ideas may flow rapidly, but stability may reduce. When Mercury joins Rahu, your thoughts about love and creativity multiply. You may overthink relationships, analyze emotions, or intellectualize romance. Words may sound beautiful, but feelings may feel confused. Then Venus joins Rahu, and for Libra, this is powerful. Desire for love, appreciation, and validation becomes strong. You may feel emotionally pulled toward people or creative pursuits that promise joy but carry hidden imbalance. But here is the danger, Libra. What feels like love may be attachment. What feels like inspiration may be a distraction. What feels like passion may be emotional dependency. Now look at the other side. Ketu in Leo sits in your 11th house, the house of friends, networks, social validation, and future goals. This can create detachment from social circles, disappointment from friends, or a sense of isolation even among many people. You may ask, why do I feel emotionally involved yet socially disconnected? Because Ketu is teaching you to stop seeking approval for happiness. It is reminding you that joy does not come from applause. So, here is your guidance. Do not fall in love with illusion. Slow down emotionally. Let time reveal truth. Create but do not cling. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be communicated through casual conversations or romantic fantasies. Some wisdom needs reflection, maturity, and silence. That is also why I want to share this with you that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain lessons about love, attachment, and balance cannot be rushed. They need to be absorbed slowly, consciously. Remember this, when you stop seeking validation, love becomes pure. Stay centered, Libra. Stay emotionally balanced and choose harmony without losing awareness.
स्कॉर्पियो वृश्चिक राशि.
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the fourth house, the house of emotions, inner security, home, mother, and psychological roots. So, understand this clearly. This transit shakes your emotional foundation. With Rahu in your fourth, restlessness increases inside. You may feel unsettled at home, emotionally insecure, or unable to relax even in familiar spaces. Old emotional memories, unresolved family patterns, or deep rooted fears may resurface now. When Mercury joins Rahu, the mind starts overanalyzing emotions. You may replay conversations, question intentions, or mentally revisit the past. The heart feels heavy, the mind feels busy. And then Venus joins Rahu, emotional attachment intensifies. You may seek comfort through people, food, or familiar habits. Love may feel nurturing but also possessive. But here is the danger, Scorpio. What feels like comfort may be escape. What feels like attachment may be control. What feels like safety may be fear of change. Now look at the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your 10th house, the house of career, authority, reputation, and public image. This can create detachment from career ambitions, disinterest in recognition, or confusion about direction. External success may feel hollow. You may ask, why does home feel heavy and achievement feel empty? Because Ketu is pulling you inward. It is asking you to find security within, not outside. So, here is your guidance. Do not run from emotional discomfort. Sit with it. Heal the roots instead of decorating the surface. Let go of control gently. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be spoken casually or quickly. Some healing happens only in silence and honest self observation. That is also, I want to share this with you that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain insights about emotional karma, healing, and inner security are meant to be read slowly and lived deeply. Remember this, what you face consciously no longer haunts you unconsciously. Stay strong, Scorpio. Stay honest with yourself and allow inner transformation without fear.
Sagittarius, Dhanu Rashi.
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the third house, the house of communication, courage, effort, learning, siblings, and daily movement. So, understand this clearly. Your mind becomes active, restless, and constantly in motion. With Rahu in your third, the urge to speak, express, write, post, and be heard increases. You may feel mentally bold, confident, and eager to take initiatives. Courage rises, but so does impatience. When Mercury joins Rahu, communication accelerates. You may talk more, message more, multitask excessively, and jump from one idea to another. Thoughts may feel sharp but scattered. Then Venus joins Rahu. You may start enjoying attention through communication. Pleasure may come from interactions, flirting with ideas, or being mentally admired. But depth may suffer. But here is the danger, Sagittarius. What feels like confidence may be restlessness. What feels like expression may be noise. What feels like courage may lack direction. Now look at the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your ninth house, the house of belief, wisdom, teachers, dharma, and higher truth. This can create disinterest in preaching, detachment from rigid beliefs, or confusion about long held philosophies. The teacher within may fall silent. You may ask, why am I speaking so much yet feeling less certain? Because Ketu is dissolving borrowed wisdom. It is asking you to rediscover truth through your own experience. So, here is your guidance. Do not speak to prove, speak only when clarity arises. Slow your mental pace, choose direction over movement. Let silence teach you. And this is exactly why some wisdom cannot be transmitted through constant conversation or quick explanations. Some truths reveal themselves only in deep stillness. That is also, I want to share this with you that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain insights about communication, courage, and dharma are meant to be read slowly, reflected upon, and integrated. Remember this, when words slow down, wisdom wakes up. Stay focused, Sagittarius. Stay inwardly aligned and move forward with conscious direction.
Capricorn, Makar Rashi.
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the second house, the house of money, family, speech, values, and emotional security. So, understand this clearly. This transit directly touches your sense of stability. With Rahu in your second house, financial desires can increase. You may think more about income, savings, status, and material security. There can be temptation to measure self worth through money or possessions. When Mercury joins Rahu, your thoughts revolve around finances and speech. You may talk more about money, make quick financial decisions, or feel mentally restless about security. Words may become sharp, practical, or emotionally detached. Then Venus joins Rahu. Attachment to comfort, luxury, and pleasing speech increases. You may seek emotional satisfaction through material stability, family approval, or financial reassurance. But here is the danger, Capricorn. What feels like security may be fear of loss. What feels like planning may be anxiety. What feels like stability may be attachment. Now look at the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your 8th house, the house of sudden changes, loss, transformation, secrets, and deep emotional rebirth. This can bring unexpected shifts in finances, family dynamics, or emotional attachments. You may feel inwardly detached from things you once held tightly. You may ask, why am I securing everything yet feeling unsafe inside? Because Ketu is teaching you impermanence. It is reminding you that true security does not come from accumulation. So, here is your guidance. Do not cling to stability, learn to trust change. Simplify finances, speak mindfully, build security inside, not just outside. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be reduced to financial strategies or practical advice alone. Some wisdom comes only through surrender and understanding impermanence. That is also, I want to share this with you, that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain lessons about security, karma, and inner strength need time, reflection, and repeated reading. Remember this, what you cannot lose does not need protection. Stay steady, Capricorn. Stay inwardly strong and allow transformation without fear.
Aquarius, Kumbh Rashi.
Aquarius, listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the first house, the house of self, identity, body, direction, and how the world experiences you. So, understand this clearly. This transit is about you. With Rahu in your first house, your personality becomes amplified. You may feel more visible, more influential, and more driven to assert your individuality. People notice you, your presence carries weight, but with that comes illusion. When Mercury joins Rahu, your mind races. You may speak quickly, think you have clarity, and believe your perspective is ahead of its time. Ideas flow fast, but grounding can reduce. Then Venus joins Rahu, attraction toward appearance, charm, and being liked increases. You may seek validation through how you look, how you are perceived, and how people respond to you. But here is the danger, Aquarius. What feels like confidence may be performance. What feels like originality may be ego. What feels like self love may be dependency on attention. Now look at the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your seventh house, the house of relationships, partnerships, and mirrors. This can create emotional detachment from others, sudden disinterest in relationships, or confusion about commitment. Others may feel distant, or you may feel distant from them. You may ask, why do I feel so strong alone yet disconnected with others? Because Ketu is pulling you inward. It is asking you to meet yourself without reflection. So, here is your guidance. Do not get lost in your image. Stay rooted in awareness. Listen more. Pause before reacting. Let presence replace performance. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be understood through identity labels or surface conversations. Some wisdom emerges only when the self dissolves. That is also why I want to share this with you that the fresh copies of my new book, Black Magic and the Birth Chart, has just arrived. Because certain insights about identity, illusion, and awareness need depth, reflection, and time. Remember this, when you stop trying to be someone, you finally become real. Stay conscious, Aquarius, stay authentic, and remain yourself without illusion.
Pisces, Mean Rashi.
Listen to me very carefully. For you, Aquarius becomes the 12th house, the house of isolation, loss, sleep, dreams, subconscious patterns, spirituality, and liberation. So, understand this clearly. This transit pulls you inward. With Rahu in your 12th, the mind may wander into unknown territories. Sleep patterns may change, dreams may become vivid, you may feel drawn toward solitude, foreign lands, spiritual practices, or escaping reality at times. When Mercury joins Rahu, thoughts become subtle yet confusing. You may overthink silently, question your inner experiences, or feel mentally drained without obvious reasons. Words may not come easily or may feel unnecessary. Then Venus joins Rahu, emotional sensitivity deepens. You may seek comfort in fantasies, music, memories, or relationships that feel soulful but unclear. Love may feel divine yet impractical. But here is the danger, Pisces. What feels like surrender may be escape. What feels like compassion may be self neglect. What feels like spirituality may be avoidance of reality. Now look at the opposite side. Ketu in Leo sits in your sixth house, the house of discipline, health, routine, service, and effort. This can create disinterest in daily structure, neglect of health routines, or resistance to responsibility. The body may ask for attention while the mind drifts away. You may ask softly, why do I feel so connected inwardly yet disconnected outwardly? Because Ketu is teaching you grounded spirituality. It is reminding you that liberation must include discipline. So, here is your guidance. Do not disappear from life in the name of spirituality. Ground yourself through routine, care for the body, let awareness flow into action. And this is exactly why some truths cannot be understood through imagination alone. Some wisdom needs grounding, repetition, and lived experience. This is also why I want to share this with you that the and liberation need to be read slowly and practiced consciously. Remember this, true spirituality does not escape life, it embraces it fully. Stay gentle, Pisces, stay grounded, and walk the path with awareness. Always remember, my fellows, existence does not care who you are, American or Russian or Indian. It never yields to anybody, it simply goes in its own way by making an effort to fulfill your desires, to force nature, existence to come behind you. You are creating causes of pain and suffering. The moment you understand, you drop these causes, and the dropping of the causes is the disappearance of all your misery. It was your projection. There is a Sufi story about a very cunning fox. All foxes are cunning, but there are politician foxes too. This happened to be a politician fox, very cunning. One day she woke up and finding herself very hungry, came out of her cave in search of some breakfast. The sun was rising and she saw her shadow so long she could not believe it. She said, "My God, I am that big. Now, where am I going to get my breakfast? I will need at least one camel. Less than that won't do. My shadow is so big, naturally, I must be as big." It is logical, perfectly Aristotelian. You cannot say she is wrong. You also know yourself only in the mirror. There is no other way. Have you known yourself in any other way except through a shadow? So don't laugh at the poor fox. How can she conceive that a small thing can make such a big shadow? It is very natural to conclude that if the shadow is so big, you must be as big. And when it comes to feeling oneself big, who wants to argue against it? When anything gives you the sense of bigness, you don't want to go into details to find whether it is true or wrong, whether it is logically right or not, scientifically provable or not. No, your whole being is so enchanted. The fox really felt that big. You could see her walk changed. But where can she find a camel for her breakfast? And even if she can find a camel, it is going to be absolutely pointless. She cannot make a breakfast out of a camel. She searches, she finds many small animals which would have been enough any other day. But today is different. She does not bother about all those small creatures. They will be lost just in her teeth. She needs a camel, an elephant, or something big. But she finds nothing big. The sun goes on rising higher and higher, and she goes on becoming hungrier and hungrier. When the sun is just exactly above her head, she looks again at her shadow. It has shrunken so small, it is just underneath her. She says, "My God, hunger does things to people. Just one morning I have missed breakfast, and look what has happened to my poor self. In the morning I was so big, only half a day has passed, and this is my situation. Now, even if I can get any small creature, that may be too much. I may not be able to digest it." Now, listen to me very carefully. This fox is not foolish. This fox is you. This fox is all of us. The rising sun is illusion. The long shadow is ego. And the hunger is desire. When Rahu enlarges the shadow, we start believing we are bigger than we truly are. We demand camels when simple nourishment was enough. We reject what can sustain us, chasing what can destroy us. Existence never promised to follow your shadow. Existence only responds to reality. The moment the fox accepted her real size, hunger disappeared. Not because food appeared, but because clarity appeared. That is the secret. Suffering does not come from lack. Suffering comes from miscalculation of who we are. And this is why I keep reminding you, do not force life. Do not negotiate with existence. Do not demand camels when silence is enough. Just sit, witness, and understand. The moment you drop the false image, the real nourishment arrives. The fox suffered not because she was small, but because she believed in the shadow. And this is what Rahu does. It does not create hunger, it magnifies imagination. That is why the sages never asked you to fight illusion. They asked you to see it. And this is where the grace of Lord Shiva enters. There is one mantra I want you to chant during this transit, not mechanically but with awareness. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Let it descend, not rise. Chant slowly. Every time illusion grows loud, every time desire looks bigger than life, every time your shadow starts demanding camels, close your eyes and remember Om Namah Shivaya. It reminds you, I am not the shadow, I am not the hunger, I am not the projection. I bow to the truth within me. You don't need to become big, you need to become real. So during these transits, don't force life to follow you. Align yourself with life. Chant, observe, do what needs to be done, and let illusion fall not by struggle but by clarity. That is the path of Lord Shiva. That is the end of all sufferings. Om Namah Shivaya. Chant this mantra. It is one of the most beautiful, most powerful, and most soothing mantra. The mantra of Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.